I'm Cheryl Gordon, yoga therapist, and I just want to show you a really quick routine that you can do lying down that allows you to kind of create a cross patterning. Now, when we're kids, we do patty cake and all kinds of hopscotch type things that naturally alternate activity in both sides of the brain. So this is a simple little routine you can do from lying down either in your bed, or I'm going to use my yoga mat, to kind of create some of that creativity and that playfulness back into the brain. It's a really healthy thing for us to do, especially as you get to be a little older. So I'm going to start by folding my blanket here. I have a nice soft blanket. I'm going to use this to cushion my spine. So I've folded my blanket this way so the fringes are together, and then fold again and fold again. So I've got a nice long rectangle. I'm going to place that on the mat, and that's going to cushion the whole length of my spine from my sacrum up to my head. You could also have a little folded blanket or pillow underneath your head if you need that. Just try not to use too much, you want the neck to have a natural curve. So I'm just going to tilt my angle of my computer down just a little bit so you can see a little bit better here. Okay, so we're going to start by lying down in constructive rest. That's the knees bent, feet on the floor. Just feeling your spine settling to the earth and noticing your breath starting to settle, move into the belly. And just for fun, check the dominance in your nostrils and see if you sense either the right or the left nostril is a little bit more open than the other. Maybe you can't really tell, maybe there's something else going on, but it's kind of fun to notice these things. We'll check in with that later. So first thing we're going to do is leave our spine heavy into the earth and just point the nose initially straight up to the sky. And then I'm going to imagine that I have a pencil in my nose, and I'm going to start to draw some circles with my nose. So I'm leaving the head heavy onto the little pillow or the blanket that we've set up, and I'm just making some little circles with the nose. And I'm going a couple times in one direction, and then a couple times in the other direction. And then I want to pause and just make sure that this amount of movement in my head is comfortable. So there might be a lot of reasons why it's not comfortable. You could just skip this part of the video if you find moving your head like that uncomfortable. But if it's going okay and you're staying relaxed in your neck, you start drawing some figure eights with your nose. So instead of just a circle, I'm doing kind of an infinity symbol now. And then I'm going to switch the directions on that and go back in the other direction. Leave your head heavy. Don't move your head too much. It's just a little movement. And after you've done an equal amount in both directions, let yourself rest and take a nice deep breath. Now we're going to do the same sort of movement, but we're going to start incorporating some knee movement or some leg movement. So gently lift your feet up off the floor. Keep your knees in the same relationship with each other, but start little circles with your knees. Sometimes you could put a yoga block between your knees or a little child's ball. And again, I'm just doing circles a couple times in one direction and a couple times in the other direction. Now, if you find that this movement is just really uncomfortable for you today, just pause, excuse me, just pause this part and move on to the next exercise in the video. Dear me. But the same way as we did with the nose, we can do with the knees and start moving in those figure eights. Notice it doesn't have to be a very large movement. And after you do a few figure eights in one direction, switching directions, you can either call it a sideways figure eight or an infinity symbol if you like that imagery better. And then after you've done that, let's rest the feet to the floor. And again, take a breath in and out through the nose. Do you notice any difference now in which side of your nose might feel more open? Or do both nostrils feel open and equal? Just an interesting question to ask. And then just to make it kind of fun, because we said we were going to be playful, let's do figure eights with the knees and the nose. So when you're ready, it kind of looks a little silly, and it's normal to get a little bit mixed up. Laugh it off. Switch directions when you want a little bit more challenge. And then, of course, you could always move your nose in an opposite direction to your knees. And all of these things are just silly little things to do. We're just playing around. And then let's let the knees come back to center, let your head come back to center, and just to settle out with that, take your hands gently onto your knees. Inhale, push them away, and exhale, draw them in gently. So this is a very soothing movement for the nervous system. When we do funny things like move our head in the opposite way that we're moving our legs, it confuses the nervous system and can cause a little bit of stress, but it's a good kind of stress. It helps us to learn new patterning and to kind of loosen up a little bit. So this is very soothing to the nervous system. Inhaling as the legs move away and exhaling as the legs come closer. And then we can just rest again. These periods of stillness, the soothing of the nervous system, is important so our brain can learn. The last thing we want to do before we leave this little practice this afternoon, or whenever you're doing this video, is a little bit of core work actually, to kind of really center the movement of the limbs of the body into the center powerhouse of the body. So we start by lifting the knees up and straightening the legs as much as you can. If they're not completely straight, that's okay. And then also lifting the arms up, reaching towards the ceiling. On an inhale, take your arms open just as far as the sides of the mat. And as you exhale, cross your right arm over and your right leg over. Inhale, open back up. And exhale, cross the left arm on top and the left leg on top. Do that a couple more times. If you get tired or a little stressed, go right back into the knees to chest pose that we just did, the Apanasana, because that helps to calm the nervous system. Good. And after you've done it a couple times with the same arm and the same leg on top, what if you switched it up and you brought the right leg on top and the left arm on top? Just to make sure you're still paying attention. And try that a couple times. And then from here, let your limbs fold in. Let your knees perhaps rest towards your body. I'm not pulling or really trying to do a deep stretch. I'm just resting for a minute. And then you can release the feet back down to the floor and rest. So while you're resting, just kind of notice those nostrils again. You see, in yoga philosophy, we feel that the right nostril is associated with the left side of the brain, and the left nostril is associated with the right side of the brain. And when we play with the different sides of the body and we alternate back and forth, we really start to mix things up, and we bring both sides of your brain to be more alive. This makes a more balanced and integrated individual. And you might notice that in your nostrils, in that they feel like they're more open and even to each other. Thank you very much for practicing yoga with me today. Namaste.